the Nutrition English Lab.
Welcome to the Nutrition English Lab. I'm Dr. Amina, and today's episode is about one of the most stressful experiences for non-native English speakers in academic settings. Sitting at a lecture hall or in front of a screen and realizing you've understood maybe 60% of what was said, and then feeling like that's a failure.
Hello, I'm Dr. Alex. It seems that you have had that experience, Amina.
Absolutely, many times during my PhD.
The good news is that understanding lectures is actually made up of smaller, trainable subskills: predicting content, catching key words, following argumentation structure, managing unknown vocabulary in real time, and processing spoken English at natural speed. Today, we'll give you the tools for all of them.
Exactly. That's why today's topic is how to understand English lectures as a non-native speaker.
We're going to organize this into 3 phases: what to do before the lecture, what to do during the lecture, and what to do after the lecture. Each phase includes very practical strategies you can start using immediately.
Let's start with the before phase, which many students skip. But honestly, this phase can determine whether you understand 60% or 85% of the lecture.
The first strategy is vocabulary preview. Before attending the lecture, search the topic on Wikipedia and quickly identify 10 to 15 key terms you expect to hear. For example, if the lecture is about gut microbiota, your list might include dysbiosis, probiotics, short-chain fatty acids, fermentation, microbiome diversity. Then say the words aloud. This is important because when your brain has already heard the sound of the word, it recognizes it much faster during the lecture.
The second strategy is what we call YouTube preview listening. Find a 5 to 8 minute video about the same topic. Channels like Khan Academy, TED-Ed, nutritionfacts.org. Listening to a short explanation calibrates your ear to the vocabulary register of the topic.
Exactly. You're not studying yet. You're simply tuning your ears.
The third strategy is slide scanning. If the professor uploads the slides beforehand, don't read everything. Just read the headings. This helps you build a mental map of the lecture. For example, introduction, methods, results, implications for clinical nutrition. Now your brain already knows where the lecture is going. Now let's talk about what to do during the lecture, which is where many non-native speakers panic. The first strategy is discourse marker listening. Instead of trying to understand every word, focus on structural signposts like first, however. The key point is, in contrast, therefore. These markers show the logic of the lecture.
For example, if the professor says, "However, recent research suggests," you immediately know a contrasting idea is coming, even if you miss a few words.
The next strategy is telegraphic note-taking. Non-native speakers often try to write complete sentences, and that slows everything down. Instead, write key words and symbols. For example, instead of writing, "high-fiber diets increase satiety and improve glycemic control," write something like fiber, satiety, glucose control. Symbols like these help you capture meaning very quickly.
Another extremely effective method is the adapted Cornell method. Divide your page into 3 parts: left column, keywords; right column, ideas or explanations; bottom section, a short summary after the lecture. For example, keyword idea. Fiber delays gastric emptying. SCFA produced by microbiota. Then, at the bottom, later, you write a 3 to 4 sentence summary.
Also, use technology when possible. If you're attending online lectures through Zoom or Microsoft Teams, enable live captions. Captions act as a second channel of comprehension. And if the lecture is on YouTube, turn on auto captions. Now let's move to the after phase, which is where real learning happens. The first strategy is the 24-hour note rewrite. Within 24 hours, convert your telegraphic notes into complete English sentences. For example, your note might say, fiber, satiety. Your rewritten sentence becomes, dietary fiber increases satiety by slowing gastric emptying.
This step is extremely powerful because it forces your brain to reconstruct meaning. The next strategy is second listening. If the lecture was recorded, replay it once more without taking notes. Research and student experience show that comprehension often improves 20 to 30% the second time.
Another great exercise is the summary test. After reviewing your notes, close them and try to write 4 to 6 sentences from memory explaining the lecture. Then compare your summary with your notes to find gaps in comprehension.
For vocabulary, we recommend Anki flashcards. Create about 5 vocabulary cards per lecture. Use spaced repetition, reviewing them daily for a few minutes. Over a semester, that can easily become 300 to 400 technical words.
And if there is something you didn't understand, use what we call gap searching. Instead of searching the whole topic, search only the specific gap. For example, butyrate function colon cells. You can check quick explanations on PubMed, Wikipedia, or YouTube. This makes learning fast and targeted. Finally, there are 2 weekly exercises that dramatically improve listening. The first is accent exposure training. Every week, listen to a different English accent using resources like the IDEA Accent Archive or BBC Learning English. Your ears become more flexible.
The second is the discourse marker hunt. Watch one lecture and list every structural signpost you hear. First, however, therefore, in contrast. Then check with captions to confirm. This trains your brain to follow academic argumentation.
To summarize, let's review the strategies discussed in this episode. Understanding academic lectures can be improved by applying strategies in 3 phases: before, during, and after the lecture, plus a few weekly training exercises.
Before the lecture, preparation helps anticipate content. Students should preview key vocabulary by identifying 10 to 15 relevant terms from sources like Wikipedia and pronouncing them aloud. Watching a short video, 5 to 8 minutes, on the topic helps tune the ear to the expected terminology and speaking style. Additionally, briefly scanning lecture slides, focusing only on headings, allows learners to understand the general structure of the lecture.
During the lecture, the focus should be on efficient listening and note-taking. Paying attention to discourse markers such as first, however, or the key point helps track the logical structure of the talk. Instead of writing full sentences, students can take telegraphic notes using keywords and symbols like arrows or mathematical signs to capture relationships quickly. The adapted Cornell note-taking method can also be useful, organizing notes into keywords, ideas, and a later summary. When available, captions or transcripts, e.g. in Zoom, Teams, or YouTube, can serve as an additional support channel for comprehension.
After the lecture, reviewing information consolidates learning. Within 24 hours, students should rewrite their notes in full English sentences. Listening to the lecture recording again without taking notes can significantly improve comprehension. Another helpful activity is writing a short summary from memory and comparing it with the notes to identify gaps. Vocabulary can be reinforced by creating a few flashcards per lecture using spaced repetition tools, such as Anki. If something remains unclear, students should perform targeted gap searches, focusing only on the specific concept they did not understand.
Finally, weekly listening practice strengthens long-term listening comprehension skills. Exposure to different English accents through resources like the IDEA Accent Archive or BBC Learning English can improve listening flexibility. Another useful exercise is identifying discourse markers in lectures and verifying them with captions, which helps train the brain to recognize the structure of academic arguments. So remember, understanding lectures is not a talent. It is a set of trainable strategies.
Preview vocabulary, listen strategically, rewrite notes, train your ears.
And be patient with yourself. Even native speakers miss things during lectures.
Exactly. Progress happens lecture by lecture.
Thank you very much for joining us. If you found this episode useful, share it with a colleague or student who is learning academic English.
Ready to keep going? Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell so you can continue learning with us.
And let's go for more learning next time. Bye.
Bye.
The Nutrition English Lab.